Oh, our next presenter is Natalia Bakhtadze Englaender from the Georgian Eco. Yeah, I promise to. Welcome, Natalia.
Thank you.
Yeah, first give a short introduction. You're from the Georgian Ecotourism Association and will focus on the positive influence of nature-based tourism development on local communities in post-Soviet era Georgia. This includes sustainable economic development, responsible ecosystem utilization, and leveraging intangible heritage to support long-term sustainability.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. And this is actually the first time that Georgia appears on the GD conference, and I hope that it will be like a long-term collaboration in the future. You hear me, right? So, yeah. Okay. So this is, actually, it was the biggest challenge what I did together with my colleagues in Georgia, because we started to work in places where it was heavily affected with the restrictions of the Soviet era. And this is what I wanted to show you. So we had, Georgia was a kind of like the range of the Soviet Union, which means that that part of Georgia was protected by the Soviet army, which means that this buffer zone was not enterable even for the Georgians. It was kind of like closed society in a closed society. So, and the whole economy, what was actually connected to those communities, it was connected to the Russian army. So which means it's the trade with Russian army, host, kind of like making food, work in a military base, and etc., etc. And as the Georgia has 20 microclimate zones, so we quite have an experience traditionally to live with a different environment. So we, the Georgians, they live with 20 different landscapes, 20 different environments. So we have semi-desert, we have subtropical places as well. So that we could actually be part of the nature that proves actually that we still exist, because we are there many thousand years. Even we are doing wine 8,000 years, by the way, and we have excellent wine. And what was actually the biggest challenge there, we went to the societies in those places which are Ramsar sites, Natura 2000, which are the national parks to be established. And we went in really with relict forests, with biodiversity, with the different species of raptors and also different birds. And one of the most important actually site for the raptor flyways. And we went to those places, and these are here and here. And we had local community who were completely closed. They don't wanted to talk with you. They don't wanted to even kind of like think about tourism or do something with tourists, because they were like a foreigner. It was like a no-go. So they, 70 years, they were living in a very close environment. So they practically was not accepting anything. So what we did actually, it was that we went to the traditional craft. So we started to back to the roots. So we started to revoke this collaboration or cooperation with nature. We started to see this kind of like relationship with nature, which was traditionally theirs. They forgot it, but still they had it kind of like the grandparents were telling the stories about that, or they were even kind of like thinking about how they can, for example, do different souvenirs, or they had some species that still were in their heritage in the houses. So we kind of like started to talk with them and see or find together nature in their particular historical environment. The first of that was, so the concepts with living with the nature and the legends of the nature. So we started the whole storytelling about people as a part of the nature and not just a nature and like a local community separately. So, and when we start to do the tourism, even on the SME basis, local basis, we started to use the natural features to promote their products, which means we, parallelly we started also to raise the awareness together with like natural features, but still we started to talk about that Caucasian bees and relict castagna forest, and we talked about the different type of the cheese, what they are doing with the herbs, which are endemic for these places. And we also kind of started to, with the handicrafts, which was actually, handicraft was conserving the type of the nature which was in a diachrony, so in the past. What we could not see now, but it was there. So, and, oh, sorry. So this is actually how we started to move forward. But we, of course, we faced a lot of problems locally because there was no property rights. Nobody knew what is their properties. Because, to establish an enterprise, they didn't register their own places where they live. So we needed to start it from there. We centralized decision-making process. This is one of the biggest problem, I think. I'm in love with Estonians, with how I see that they are decentralized everything. So this I wish that we could make also in Georgia as well. But this centralized decision-making process was, of course, really difficult to make a decision quick and on the community level. And there was kind of like an attitude, that was the Soviet attitude, that nature is only for use for great goals, like to create the water power station or use the nature to earn the gold because we have the gold mines and different type of things. So that was kind of attitude towards nature. And we needed to somehow also kind of like to crush this legend. And we actually started also to go directly into the households, work with the people who can produce something, and work with the people who can do something like as a part of souvenirs or the host family and etc. And we used nature like as a package, for example, for a chocolate, as a communication tools, so that because we could talk about the strategies and different methodologies and etc. But bottom-up approach means that you are talking that language, what is talking in a grassroots level. If you are going there like stakeholder engagement policies and all this stuff, who cares? They don't understand you. You need to start really with a local level, kind of like you, your neighbor, let's sit together, let's drink a wine, and then maybe we will come to some solution. That is the approach what we needed to do on a local level. So we started to bring nature as a part of the product everywhere. So they understand that their nature is the source. What if you are using its really sustainability, it stays, and it will help also your children to bring more and more money. So we started to talk about the family business, local and small business. So nature in destination communication, biodiversity-based agritourism, because we created the places for endemic wine grape types, which actually the communists tried to extinct. So we brought all the grape types into one village, like different 35, 40 types. And we are created a nursery and offering the locals also to take these grape types and make in the future the wine from it. And of course the nature in entertainment as well. So, and this is how we kind of ended up. It was different product in different places, which really drastically increased the number of SMEs who started to offer, like intangible culture using in a craft master classes, or even make community and its tradition as a main attraction, and not like a church or a mount. So we tried to focus on the community, but who are offering the natural kind of nature communication and awareness. And biodiversity and the community, we kind of started to create interpretation trails, which means, oh yes, this is actually, that is the one of the trails what we created. We just saw this lady and we said, okay, here we have the gastronomic roots of Majachela. And which means that you are going from one place to another. Actually, some of them were there. Masaru, if you you were not there. Actually, Marcos was there, I think, and Kirsi. But I mean, during the Ecotourism conference in 2018, so we kind of like visited all those places. And this is what I'm talking about, the endemic flowers using in new embroidery, and what they are actually, they are telling the story also when they are selling their products. This is also kind of like revitalized traditions. That's actually from the 12th century, the wine cellar, and where we brought all these endemic grape types, which is kind of like I mean, if we see in the branding, it's like, imagine you are drinking the wine, which was actually their first time in 300 years. So that is already a good thing. And we also kind of like tried with the small projects in those places create the, how to say, the interpretation routes. That is the volcanic lakes Abatsuri, and the people started to fishing a lot to have money. And that was the reason why Garieli, I mean, this type of bird was birding anymore there. So when we started to make this bird important, then they kind of like talking about this bird with the tourists and the bird watching tours. And I mean, they stopped to fish a lot, so that's why, and bird returned. And this is also kind of like the interpretation trails, and then also when we started to bring nature from the ancient jewelry product, for example, or even that is the, this is kind of like, I don't remember Latin name of it, but eagle, which is actually the raptor, one of the raptors on our Washlovani National Park. And that is actually the vessel which is specially for the love toasts. I mean, we have a special vessel for the love, I mean, toast for the love. So, and this is also how we also kind of like tried to create interpretation trails, like visualize all those biodiversity, what the people or the visitors could not see at the place. So that's it. Thank you. I'm sorry, I know that I was 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Natalia, and thank you again for all the panel members. I know it's really hard to stay under the 10 minutes, especially with climate change, because often it's a very complex thing to explain. So thank you very much for staying under the 10 minutes and doing a really good job in getting your message across.